Today our theme is texture. We are going to learn what is texture, where can we find texture, and how can we create texture in art. Texture is how something feels or how it looks like it might feel. For example, the texture of this pineapple is prickly, bumpy, and rough. The texture of this chair is smooth and maybe scratchy. The texture of this dog is fluffy, soft, and its tongue might be wet. The texture of this crystal is smooth and maybe sharp. The texture of slime is squishy and sticky. Now that we know what texture is, let's talk about where we can find it. I found a couple textures at the beginning of this video. Where will you find texture? Alright, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, and third graders, your assignment for today is to go on a texture scavenger hunt. Where can we find texture? I went around and did my own texture scavenger hunt and was looking for textures around my house. And now I am sending you off to do the same. Walk around and try to see how many different textures you can find. Then in your sketchbook or a plain piece of paper or whatever material you want to work with today, write down the different textures you find: rough, bumpy, scratchy, soft, hairy, or you can make texture rubbings. So here I went around and I found a couple different textures. I set the paper on top of the material that I wanted to do a texture rubbing of. My pencil's on the side and I'm pressing hard. You'll end up seeing what the texture looks like underneath. You could just go around and draw all the textures that you can find. It is your choice. You have multiple options. Alright, second through fifth graders, we need to briefly talk about what implied texture is. Implied texture is where something looks like it has texture, but it doesn't actually feel like it has texture. So here are a couple examples of artwork that have real texture. If you were to touch these artworks, they would feel pokey or bumpy or soft. Here's an artwork, it's a sculpture and it actually is hairy. Now here is an artwork that has implied texture. This fox, if you touched it, it isn't hairy, it looks hairy. Here is an artwork that looks like it would be smooth or silky. This artwork looks like if you touched it, it would be bumpy and rough and scratchy. But second and third graders, you are off now to do your texture scavenger hunt, but I want you to be looking for implied texture. Can you find anything that looks like it has texture, but actually doesn't? Fourth and fifth graders, last but not least, we are going to talk about how we can use texture in art. We are going to be using our texture that we find today to make an expressive artwork. Fourth graders, we've already made an expressive artwork this year with our non-representational artworks. Fifth graders, I'm sure you will understand quickly. I want you to make an artwork that shows a feeling, but I want you to use texture that you find in your texture scavenger hunt to help show that feeling. I'm going to show you some examples now. This artwork might be expressing frustration, exhaustion, or pain. This artwork might be expressing thoughtfulness or confusion. This artwork looks like it could be expressing joy or a love for spring. This artwork could be expressing pain or sickness. Finally, this artwork looks like it could be expressing concentration, peace, or a love for music. Okay, fourth and fifth graders, there you have it. Go now on a short texture scavenger hunt and then make an artwork that shows a feeling and uses texture. My recommendation, pick your feeling before you start making your artwork. Bye!